Welcome to Shallow Cinema.
Welcome to Watch Talk.
Welcome to Shallow Cinema.
SpongeBob me Bob. What's a podcast?
Welcome to the Shallow Cinema.
Welcome to Cinema Shallow.
Holy crap, Lois. We're on the Shallow Cinema.
Peter, this bit is stupid.
I'd just like to say I'm very glad to be here with my good friend, the Black Jack Bauer. He's black and he's Jack, a man after my own heart.
Do you think they think that we're just having like a mental breakdown?
Yeah.
Do you think they get the multiverse aspect of what we're doing? I don't think they do. I think they're like, God, insane.
It does sound pretty weird without the editing on top of it.
This is what's going to get us committed.
I am from Universe 477. I'm the vampire.
I wanted to see you
version
pull
of
out like
Nemo.
an actual like Marvel reference of what universe you were from.
No, I'm Earth 42 Wallaby Way. I'm the fish Nemo this time.
I'm from Earth 65, where the Adam Driver movie is the most highly praised cinematic.
Start the
adventure.
ship!
Is that from that movie? I still
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Yeah. For real though.
But I'm the co-host here, Black Jack Bauer with Nemo. You are actually on Shallow Cinema, and this week we're doing Spider-Man. I saw Spider-Man? Did you see Spider-Man?
I think I did. At least a version of it.
That should help with this conversation about Spider-Man.
I think it will help a little bit. Just a little bit.
Are you here to listen to us talk about Spider-Man?
I hope so.
If you're not, you can still stick around, or you can put it on mute. Doesn't matter as long as it plays. I think we get the hit.
Yeah.
So we're already good.
Click it.
In what dimension can people reach us, Nemo?
On Twitter, it is shallow_cinema. And our email is shallowcinemashow@gmail.com. And you can also find us on YouTube with Shallow Cinema. As usual, all those links are in the description.
And now, on with the show.
Yeah, we got some news going on, my friend.
How many bits of news do you have?
I've got two. How about you?
Yeah.
Keeping in theme with animated movies, an insider has alleged that Universal has closed its big deal for its next Nintendo project, and it is Zelda.
I did see that. I didn't know that was closed. I saw that Illumination and Disney.
Nintendo.
Illumination and Nintendo. Now we're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
Or closing, making a deal, and that Zelda would be next. I think we discussed it with the Mario thing. I know why Nintendo would do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that they should stick with just one studio.
What's interesting to me about this is that
And
apparently
also-
it's alleged to be the most expensive animated film ever made.
Sure.
Like cool.
I don't know. I didn't look up how much Spider-Verse cost to make.
I'm sure it was a lot.
And we'll talk about, Mario will come back up in the Spider-Verse review. And Mario looked great. If you want to know my opinions of it, go back to the episode where I talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the movie, but it looks great. A lot of Illumination stuff looks really good. They are good animators.
Yeah, Sing looks fantastic.
They struggle with what I would say is storytelling.
Yeah.
And also, take Shrek. Shrek is a like, I'm not going to go to whole diatribe, but Shrek is like a family movie, right? Like, yeah, it's aimed at kids, but it does have humor that is smart enough to be like to engage an adult brain.
Better
And a
out than in, I
story-
always say.
And a story that can do the same. And Puss in Boots, like Last Wish, is also like, yeah, this is for kids, but it is elevated above that.
Right.
Mario was not. Mario was, this is for kids. And hey, do you recognize all this Nintendo stuff? Well, good. That's what it was. And I think that's fine for Mario. And I don't really give a shit about Zelda, but
Right.
It is a better universe and story. It has a story to it. Granted, they could go in any direction they want with this.
I mean, Breath of the Wild just came out, or sorry, Tears of the Kingdom
you're
just
right.
came out.
And I don't think
it has a pretty big story.
And they could absolutely do a fun, jokey kid movie with Link and Zelda. You could, even ape off the Captain in Power shit,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Mario Brothers cartoon from back in the day with the Zelda and shit. Well, excuse me, princess.
Deke.
But I don't think that's what people really want.
Yeah. Honestly, I could see them
And
just playing it very safe and going straight
think
on like
The smarter
Breath of the Wild.
the smarter thing would be do Breath of the you don't have to tell that story, but that's one I would say, like, do that art style
It's already
and also
stylized.
do that universe. And correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Nintendo is kind of, I don't know, let's say they kind of stated that they're going to stick in the Breath of the Wild universe. That wasn't the case. I think they were just stating that from now on Zelda is open world, like that's what they're doing.
which is pretty disappointing. That's a
different thing.
Yeah, that's an entire discussion.
But I mean, look, I think that art style, just like Zelda Wind Waker, as a video game that's going to hold up over time, 20 years from now, no matter what's like, that still looks good because of this cell shaded look.
You stylized it.
And again, I think look at Spider-Verse, look at Puss in Boots: Last Wish, look at the upcoming Ninja Turtles movie with different type of animation and style. I think that's what Illumination should do. I don't know if they're the studio to do that. Also, you know what? I'm not going to put it on them. I don't know if Nintendo has the balls to take a quote unquote risk.
Right.
I know. I had hoped that they'd branch out. I mean, how do you like? We knew that Zelda would probably be the next thing that they would do. If Metroid's the third one up, or Star Fox. I mean, I think those are the two that would make the most sense.
Yeah, if they're going to do
unless
an
you
animated
spin
thing.
out of like Mario and you can do Donkey Kong a movie or whatever.
Right.
But would you want them to stay with Illumination for that?
No. Like, I mean, give other things a chance too. I mean, DreamWorks has other stuff. Like, or not DreamWorks, sorry, Universal. Pretty sure DreamWorks is actually still under Universal.
Well, no, because DreamWorks has their own thing. I think DreamWorks primarily works with Paramount.
They're still
or they're mostly distributed by Paramount.
They still have all the stuff at the parks, so
that's different licensing too.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter's there too.
Yeah, the Hulk is there as well. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Look, when you make that kind of money, who knows where stuff is.
That's the real multiverse.
So I guess that's cool. I mean, we'll see. You know what? I would like Nintendo give it to fucking Trigger Studio. Give it to an anime studio.
Yeah.
So one, technically, it's in country for you. Like, hey, you don't have to like trust a Westerner with it.
Give it to Netflix.
Thank you for that segue setup for my bit of news. I think it's been well known. Yeah, the Netflix password crackdown has begun. I can say for myself, 3 weeks ago when I opened it up, which is not my Netflix account, it did tell me, hey,
oh no,
hey, this isn't your home. And I was like, yeah, it's fine though. I thought I had like a month or like a billing cycle. I don't know. I went in there yesterday. Nope, I'm now done. It's just like, hey, you don't live. You're not where the place where you live. And it gives you an option. You can click I'm traveling. And I thought like, oh, they'll give me like a week or two and I can watch the stuff I want to watch real quick. Nope. Then it's like we want to send an email to the email address that's on the account. It's like, oh, that's a person. That's my ex I don't talk to anymore. I don't want to reach out and be like, hey, respond to that email and say that I can still look at this.
Hey, listen.
So Netflix is done for me.
Fuck you, Netflix.
For the time being. But Netflix, from May 24th to the 27th, Netflix had its largest days of signups in the last 4.5 years.
So I guess it worked.
Yeah, having been monitored by the research group Antenna, who has been monitoring them for 4.5 years. 100,000 new subscribers over that weekend period.
It'd be really funny if they're all just trial and they're all going to cancel it after they finish the show they want to watch.
Well, I mean, what was it though? Because look, the only show that really launched at that because that was Memorial Day weekend. Interesting that they chose a holiday weekend to really start this crackdown.
Yeah, that's weird.
Was Fubar, the Schwarzenegger show, which
I mean, people like. I mean,
I watched 4 episodes of Fubar, by the way.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Okay.
It ain't the show anyone signed it up for.
Well, like I know when I would like watch like I don't know, My Name Is Earl or something, and my Netflix ran out as a kid, I would just be like, I'll go and
now
trial.
I couldn't find the exact numbers, but they did also have a large amount of cancellations as well.
Oh yeah,
but whatever the kill death ratio of this was, they still came out net positive. So yeah, to your question, yes, it worked.
Let's see how long it lasts, though.
But the thing is, which they have to know, and I would think the other streaming services would know too, is like if you do this, you're just telling people to pirate shit. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get more people are gonna pirate more or find someone to pirate it for them.
It's pretty bad when Blockbuster makes fun of you on Twitter.
The fact that they're still around,
right?
They came back on Twitter
to make fun of you.
I'd almost want to be like, this is your chance. If there's someone who's got the capital, open Blockbuster back. Even Toys R Us managed to come back somehow.
Even Redbox retweeted like something they had posted in the past about sharing is caring or something like that. And when you got Redbox making fun of you, that should be really
I feel like
embarrassing.
it used to even be back in the day where Netflix was like, yeah, go and share your password.
They literally, for like Valentine's Day, they were like, share your Netflix password with the one you love.
I think there maybe was a thought of like, oh, if someone starts
Mm-hmm.
watching, but also like, that's dumb. It's like, why would they then pay if they could just keep using
Right.
whoever else's? The other part of it too is, you know what? Maybe if, and this goes for all of them, if your content, which don't get me wrong, there's good content on there, but there's also a lot of bullshit you put on there.
A ton of bullshit.
And I know it's costing more and more, and you all overspent to create original content for the last 5 or 6 years. You spent too much money.
Well, canceling the things that everyone actually loved.
Okay, who knows how that viewership looks? No, because nobody knows what viewership numbers are for any of them.
Yeah,
we only know what
it's
they
insane.
tell us.
I mean, how
And
many
we
of
don't
these
even know
shows,
what do you want? Like, what did you need? What did you want?
like how many of these shows do people just put on when they're going to bed? Like, I guess that counts as a view. Like, just like that kind of stuff, like a toddler clicking through.
Technically, and that's the other thing too, is like, you know, maybe it counts in like, well, 4 episodes played in a row, and when it got to the "Are you still watching?" question,
Yeah, nothing happened.
nothing happened, so we know you're whatever.
It's like it's almost immeasurable.
But this goes to the only viewership numbers you have for anything, or the impact that it is having, is based on social media and retweets and all this other
Right,
stuff,
yeah.
right? So we know that with Disney Plus, they announced that the Daredevil show is going to be, or no, Loki is going to come out in October.
Yeah,
I'm still interested to see, like, are you cutting Jonathan Majors out of this somehow?
right.
But it's going to be week to week, which you're like, that's not news. That's how it always happens.
That's literally how it's
But-
always happened.
The Echo show, which if you don't remember, Echo is a character introduced in Hawkeye. She's the deaf assassin. I don't know. what she
Yeah.
is. That's getting dumped all at once, right after Loki.
Because they don't feel confident in it.
Well, one's that there have been reports that it's bad.
I bet it is.
Who knows? Because that's something else we'll talk about too later on, of just like shitting on stuff that we don't even know about yet. But it's either one shows a lack of confidence, and it could be them trying something new. It's like, well, let's go back and forth. One show will do week to week, one show will drop all at once.
Right.
Or if it is bad, dropping it all at once isn't just a lack of confidence in it. It is instead of drawing this out and getting bad publicity for 8 weeks, we'll just take one hit, drop it right now. Then that's it.
And then
People only talk about it for 1 or 2 weeks, and then we're out.
And then in 2 weeks they'll release a trailer for Captain America 4. And there
Versus, I want to say Amazon was one of the first streamers to do stuff week to week. Like
Yeah.
The Boys season 2 came out week to week.
you go.
Why did
was
they do that?
surprising.
They did that because instead of only getting 1 or 2 weeks of positive comments about The Boys, now they got a whole month and a half of it because it's coming out week to week.
And also, if it's a good show, that extends those free trials into actual subscriptions.
So yeah, we're living in an interesting age, but I thought it was worth reporting that.
Should we go back to cable?
I don't know if cable really still exists anymore.
No.
Even that's like, yeah, you can stream stuff.
Hey, I'm sure my phone will listen to me. Spectrum TV. How about that?
I'm sure it definitely did hear that.
Yeah. They're going to call me in 5 minutes.
Do you have another piece of news?
Yeah, something really small for this one.
Itty bitty piece of news.
Yeah, Ghostbusters revealed its new title for its next sequel and its logo.
Is it not just Afterlife 2?
No, it's called Firehouse, and the logo is the Ghostbusters logo frozen solid.
I realize this is an audio medium, so you can't see the face that I made when Nemo said that.
You got real squinty.
I'm very confused. I mean, I know why it would be called Firehouse, I guess, because that's...
Yeah, like the subs are hungry.
But that's a dumb subtitle.
It is.
Unless the whole movie takes place in the
And,
firehouse.
and it literally looks like Iceman shot the logo. Like it's like got the icicles like hanging off at it.
I assume it'll probably... I guess it'll take place during winter or Christmas.
I don't know, the Ice Age.
I know. I know that Afterlife did have an end credit scene that showed
Harold Remus's cold corpse.
well, I mean, he's CGI. They've got him now. They can do whatever they want with him. But it showed the containment center and Ernie
Yeah.
Hudson going back to the firehouse. So like, I get it. Like, I get where they're going, but I don't know why you wouldn't come up with a
It's
different
weird.
like Afterlife title of like Extra Life. Or that's dumb too. But
Yeah, it's
it's
pretty
better
bad.
than Firehouse, which is just like Ghostbusters Firehouse.
There-
It sounds like a toy. It sounds like you're talking
Yeah.
to me about a toy playset.
I do genuinely. I can't think about anything but just Ghostbusters Firehouse subs. Like,
Do you want to call it right now? Do you think that they'll do a tie-in deal with Firehouse subs?
That would be really surprising, but I would laugh really hard.
I mean, we've seen weirder ones.
We absolutely have, and we can talk about that later.
I do have some another bit of news. I guess it's small. Some more strike delays. The writer strike is still going on, showing honestly no signs of coming to resolution.
Not at all.
Again, It's a pretty easy solution. Pay people what they should be paid for the work that they do.
Absolutely. It
But-
shouldn't be a question.
Some new stuff that's come out that's now getting pushed back because of this. The Mandalorian season 4, which I didn't even know that they're going to do, but I guess why wouldn't they?
Right.
Was going to start shooting in September. Now it's shooting in November. I guarantee you it's going to get pushed back further. But also, recently it came out that Pedro Pascal just admitted, like, yeah, I'm not even in the suit anymore. Like, he's not there.
I mean,
because I think this last one, because with The Last of Us and stuff, they're just like, fuck it, just put this. Because
So-
he doesn't need to be in it.
No.
So,
so okay, let me get this straight.
and which
So
I also
Pedro's-
think is why, by the way, in season 3, he doesn't ever take his helmet off, because it's like, well,
well, okay.
he's not here.
So Pedro's not in the suit, but yet they have the guy who plays Boba Fett with the most dad bod ever still stay in that suit and look terrible
I
throughout
think
the entire
he's.
thing.
I think he's also only occasionally in the suit during action scenes. For sure, it's someone else in that suit.
It has to
I
be.
mean, it's the benefit of having a suited character.
But it's still so wild to me that the Boba Fett shots, like where you can see it's just like kind of a chubby dude in a suit.
Now, there is a chance that Mandalorian will go ahead and shoot in November and not get pushed back further. But this is what's interesting. What's coming up now is realizing, in case you think that the writer's strike which just means, oh, they can't create new stuff, they can't write new stories. No, it means other stuff too. Now there's stuff like House of the Dragon is going to go ahead and shoot because their scripts were locked. Now, what it also means is they have to shoot the scripts as is. It cannot be changed, cannot be anything.
God.
Which happens with every single thing you've ever watched. There's a reason the writer is there. It's also a reason in TV shows that usually the showrunner or executive producer is also a writer. What's happening now too is if they're on strike, that means there is no showrunner because they're on strike.
So then you have a
Some of
director
them-
who something horrible happens on set. They got to cut a scene. Well, I guess we got to change whatever.
The same thing. Like, I know, even though people hate it anyway, but Rings of Power season 2, they were in the middle of filming. They decided to go ahead and finish filming without the showrunners. Now, for some of you might be like, good, it'll probably be better now without them there. But who knows? And now with season 2 of House of the Dragon, no matter what your thoughts of it are, you'll never know. Is this as good as it could have been?
Right.
And I know that Warner Brothers and I want to say Disney have also come out and started telling showrunner writers, like, that's fine, you can support the Writers Guild, but you have other duties
You work
that
for
you
the
need to
mouse,
that you
motherfucker.
need to come here and do. And if you don't,
Mickey
breach
needs
your
his
contract.
cheese.
There's all this other stuff, which is, again, the whole issue is like, fucking pay them for what they've done.
Mickey's got to get paid, dude.
But also the Community movie, the long-awaited Community movie.
Like Dan Harmon Community.
Yes, that was finally happening. Is also now delayed because this. And the Batman is probably one of the biggest ones. The Batman Part 2 is supposed to start shooting in November, is now slated to start shooting in March. The Penguin show with Colin Farrell has also stopped production, I think, entirely. And this does kind of lead into another piece of news, but maybe I'll hold it. Mission Impossible 8 or 7 Part 2
Yeah.
is also now on hold and had not started shooting, which is weird because I would have thought that they would have, or that the script would even be locked, but apparently that's not the case.
Honestly, I would have thought that too, though. Like, that's really
Considering
weird.
that they knew it's part 1, part 2.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
been-
my guess is the script, a form of the script exists.
That's really strange, though.
But, that these are movies that, whatever your thoughts on are, like, they are thought out. Like, they plan them. They put some thought into them. It's not Fast X.
Yeah. Hey, its sequel's going underway pretty quickly.
Oh, you know what? I can't not take that segue.
Let's go.
One
into
last
it.
piece of news.
Oh boy.
I don't even give a shit about the Fast and Furious franchise. I think I made that clear before. The whole spoiler about The Rock being back, which is only a big deal if you know the behind the scenes drama of the Fast series, where The Rock and Vin Diesel clearly didn't get along.
He really wasn't smelling what he was cooking.
And that they just went ahead before the movie came out and told, like, yep, he's in it.
They kissed and they
Which
made up.
was dumb. Like, let it for the fans who give a shit. Like, just, this didn't make any, no one who wasn't not going to go see this movie was like, oh, well, now I'll go see it.
Right.
Fast X is already on demand after 3 weeks. It's still playing in theaters, but it is on demand as of now.
That is insane.
And I don't know why they did that. Granted, it's not doing as well, period. It's
Right.
really not doing well domestically in comparison. Going
That
into
is crazy.
its fourth frame, it's pulled in 650 million worldwide, but only 138 domestically. And that's a diminishing trend from F9. I hate that they're called this. That pulled in 719 million. Hobbs and Shaw that did 760 million domestic. F8 had 1.2 billion and F7 was 1.5 billion.
There was a big chunk of people that went and saw Hobbs and Shaw strictly to see the Jurassic World short film.
I mean, I thought also that's marketing that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. This got ticket sales.
A lot of people went to go see that and didn't leave the movie because they didn't actually show it in the theater.
The Rock has also now tweeted out that the next Fast movie will be a Hobbs flick. No word of
Oh my
Shaw's
God.
back. But from the trailers that we've seen recently, Jason Statham will do whatever.
Yeah, maybe he dies in this one. I don't know. I didn't watch this movie.
I don't think he's in Fast X. Some these actors take breaks in between.
He's got the Meg 3 to do, dude.
Maybe they'll cross it over with the Fast movies.
Sure.
Drive a car through a megalodon.
That'd be cool.
Uh,
Right out its asshole.
that the Hobbs flick will set up Fast X Part 2, and then there's X3. I don't know if these are considered Fast 11 and 12, or if it's just like, nope, it's X Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Here's what's
The
fun.
Last Stand.
If you do care about these movies, you should skip 30 seconds ahead, because I'm going to spoil the end of this one. If you've seen the trailer, there's a bit where a car is driving down a dam that's exploding. Fine. That's apparently the end of the movie.
Oh,
And it literally is Dom, Vinny's character,
yeah.
saves his kid, and they think that they're all done. And then Angry Genie Aquaman says, nope, my plan was for you to do this all along. I'm going to blow up the dam. And the movie ends. It's not even just a cliffhanger. And this is a segue into our review. It's not even just a cliffhanger. You're just stopping dead middle of action.
Wow.
And how brazen and shitty of you. I mean, I know that you're going to make another, I know that you're going to continue this, but still, like, even Infinity War, like, yeah, it was a big cliffhanger, but like, it led to a thing and it ended on a thing happening. It had an ending where it's like, oh, whoa, that's
like
an ending.
That's like the ending of Desolation of Smog, where you're like, we know Smog's going to die in like 2 minutes.
Kind of.
We got to wait for the 2 more
kind
years
of
later.
is.
The book came out 100 years ago. Everyone knows.
Like, even The Matrix Reloaded with its to be concluded, it was still like oh yeah, that's kind of an end. Like, oh man, an ending. I like, wonder what's going to happen. Like this, yeah, I guess your audience would still wonder what's going to happen, but it's also like I thought we were in the middle of an action scene and now we're just done. But
That's strange.
that's where you get your end credit scene of The Rock being back, and also Gal Gadot, who's been dead since Fast 6. She's not dead. She's now a submarine commander.
Okay.
So nobody's dead. I mean, Paul Walker's dead, but not even in these. He's still alive,
Oh, boy.
and I'm guaranteeing you, they're gonna bring him back. They're gonna fucking AI generate him.
Yeah, they are. You always be my brother, even if you're CGI.
I'm not talking about Fast.
Okay.
It's interesting how movies are back. I mean, literally, they are. I mean, they're not what they used to be at the box office,
But God damn it, they're back.
but they are in fact back. And look, I know there's an audience for the Fast movies, and I don't begrudge anyone who does enjoy them, even though I think some people, if you did enjoy them, like, do you still? Because
Yeah.
they're not what they were. And look, it's doing spectacle on a level unheard of, I guess, but wouldn't it be more interesting if there was real cars and like real car stunts? The John Wick of car movies
That would have been a really good segue for our next podcast.
could have been.
Anyway, speaking of movies being back, how about we talk about a little trailer or two?
Gonna hop on the Segway machine,
Yep.
right on down to the trailer part.
We're already there.
What trailer do you want to talk about?
Fast and Furious. Hidden Strike.
Expendables 4. Let's just blend these two together.
They're the same thing.
So I didn't know that Expend for Balls,
I didn't even know that there was a third one, to be honest.
which I thought we were done with the putting numbers into titles.
Doesn't Fast 4 literally have the same thing? Isn't it like Fast,
No,
but the 4 is
the fourth one is just titled Fast and Furious
Oh, okay.
because its tagline was
Oh,
new
wait, no,
model,
it's-
original parts.
No, it's Fantastic Four that did it.
Fant Four Stick.
Yep.
Yes. And look, Megan Mithrigan gets a pass because like, well, that's computer jargon bullshit.
Sure.
So. But yeah, Expendable Balls. I didn't even know they were making this. I kind of don't know why, because the last one didn't do great. And
Like I said, I literally didn't even know there was a third one.
now I think they chalked it up to like it leaked early, and they claimed that impacted it. Even though I think you could pull up torrenting numbers and like people weren't torrenting it either. It just didn't do well. And I've watched the first one of these, and I was actually excited at the first one, which was however many years ago now.
That's
but
one of the tweets that James Gunn got in trouble for.
was an Expendables tweet.
Mm-hmm. I'll find it while you talk about it.
But I like the concept of like making essentially an old school 80s action hard R action movie, and with your 80s and 90s action stars. That's the whole that was the premise, the selling point. To where, and look, I didn't enjoy the movie. You know why I didn't enjoy the first one? Because it also threw a ton of CG like blood, and I hate CG blood. And it was like, if the point of this was supposed to be give me stupid 80s action movie, you're giving me parts of it, but then just put squibs on people. Like that's what I want to see.
Go full on with it. Like it's so ridiculous. That was 2010, by the way.
The first Expendables movie.
One. Yeah, the James Gunn tweet was the Expendables was so
you wanted to call it Expendables, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. The Expendables was so manly, I fucked the shit out of the little pussy boy next to me. The boys are back in town.
I mean, he wouldn't think it's funny now, but like,
no, that's
you know what? I won't say if it's funny or not.
That's funny.
But
you know, he cracks a big old grin when he thinks about that one.
All of these, as they've gone on, they've gotten further and further away from the idea. And
I remember one had Terry Crews in it. Was that the second one?
He's in the first two.
Okay,
he might be in the third one too.
I just kind
of I think he dies in the third one. He's not in this one. Apparently.
I have a vague memory of him like drinking coffee and being like fuck, and then like a bomb hitting them or something.
He's in it. I don't remember what he does.
Okay,
but he's not in this one. I didn't see his name in the credits either. I like how they still think these names are so recognizable that they don't even bother with the first name. They're just the last names. And I was like, some of these I don't know who you're
there's a few where I was like, who the fuck is that?
And in the original, like, not in the trailer, but like, I guess the poster or the spot, the names are so close together that I was like, who's Stallone Couture? oh, Sylvester Stallone and
that's his
whatever
that's his
the Couture
brand.
guy is. But this one still is. It looks cheap. I think I looked it up. It's $90 to $100 million you spend on it, which like you don't have to spend more than that. Honestly, that's good.
You should just actually save your money and not make the movie.
Or that. And I like how the tagline of this is like new blood, even though I felt like the third one was also about that, because like I think Ronda Rousey and some other people were in it. Who aren't. She was. She definitely was.
Okay.
Again, doesn't appear to be in this one.
Well,
but like then 50 Cent is the new addition, one of the new additions here, and it's like new blood. He's like 50 fucking years old.
He's got blood in the sand.
Yeah, actually, arguably make that than this. And even for generic action movie,
Tony Yayo do all that shit again.
Tony Jaa being this, which he was not in the other ones. Jet Li was in the other ones.
No, I mean he's in the blood in the sand.
Oh, but Tony Jaa's in this one. Is in this movie. Jet Li did not appear to be in this one, which again, there's a lot of people who I don't think they died in the previous ones. I think they're just like, nah, I'm good.
Is Jet Li still alive?
Yes.
I thought Jet Li died.
Nope. Him and Jackie Chan, which will segue.
Yeah.
So
what you're getting at is
all of this just seems, and it looks cheap. And it looks like
really cheap.
It looks like
there's
if DVD still existed, this is direct to DVD.
This is a
red
50
box
Cent,
movie.
like talking, and the background is so horribly like just green screen.
It's when he pops up to grab the 50 cal and he says something, and it's almost like, why did you put that in the trailer? Because it's the only one that had the horrible green screen look to it. It's like you didn't need this.
It looked like a YouTube parody trailer kind of deal.
And then there's like an aircraft carrier sinking, which
like Screen Rant would upload that.
Doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good.
No,
like, it looks like, hey, that's decent CGI. CGI that I know is CGI. And I couldn't tell you at all what the plot is. I think
they're gonna shoot people.
A terrorist.
Megan Fox is there.
And dating Jason Statham.
I just think
I like how the opening of the trailer is It almost seems like a different movie.
It does.
And then it's just like knock knocks, like nope, it's an Expendables movie. Like, weirdly, I'd kind of rather watch a Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Yeah.
Jason Statham, Megan Fox movie
Same.
than the It even seems like Jason Statham kind of, as his character gets dragged into, is like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do this.
Well, I mean, they just can't help themselves. They can't stop.
Addicted to the shindig. Look, so yeah, the trailer also is maybe the first use of Can't Stop,
It was in Black Panther.
but in a trailer.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's the first use of. Wow, is that song having some weird resurgence in movies?
I think
Is
just
it
Red Hot.
nostalgic now?
I think Red Hot Chili Peppers in general is just
But this is a weird movie to put it in, even though it was like when it kicked in, I liked it, but only because like, well, I do like this song. But it's also like it's weird. It's jarring in the trailer because it like stops the dramatic action music and
It
then just
does.
like hard cuts to.
I mean, to be fair, Black Panther did the same thing.
But I'm gonna give this trailer credit. It's not the weirdest use of a song in a trailer
No.
this year because the last Voyage of the Demeter is still. I saw that again this weekend when I saw Transformers. Spoiler alert.
I just want to let you know
That the
that
rat in a cage.
that song has been playing everywhere I go.
You know what? It better be in the fucking movie. When we see the last
Yeah.
Voyage of Demeter, the end credits better be that song.
Yeah.
Or some weird cover of it. But
Fuck.
on top of the Expendables, apparently this director has directed a second movie in the same time span,
Hidden Strike featuring Jackie Chan and John Cena.
which is a real movie. I know that title sounds
It sounds fake.
like a 1998. I'm at the video store.
Yeah.
This went directly to VHS. My dad would rent this.
Like a Saturday Night Live parody where John Cena comes in and they're like Expendables 1 is playing, but they're like, oh,
and,
I didn't get to get in, so I made my own movie.
and somehow, look, it doesn't look like the effects and stuff don't look great in this either, but it does look better than Expendables 4.
Isn't it weird?
Which I would honestly, I think probably because if Expendables had $100 million, if they both have the same budget, Expendables, most of that budget had to have gone to the cast.
Do you think it's possible that this movie, this Hidden Strike movie,
Is a joke?
yes, but could have been like they were going to put it in the Expendables, but they had nowhere to put these two characters to mix them together. Like they just couldn't figure out a
It's
way
the
to get
Hobbs
those
and
two.
Shaw of the
Yeah,
Expendables
literally,
universe.
yes. Wouldn't that be? Would that be
if
something?
we watch Expendables 4 and it ends by literally setting up Hidden Strike, I will actually applaud this director and be like, kudos, sir. No one saw that coming. Way to go. You really
Yeah.
pulled a X and Pearl here.
Yeah. Anyway, that movie, Hidden Strike, I couldn't tell you much about it. It just looks like a silly comedy movie
It
that's
looks-
not Rush Hour.
It kind of looks like a throwback to buddy action flick.
Yeah.
But instead of a cop movie, which they typically are, it is a
They're like,
military espionage
yeah,
buddy
they're
flick. And I'll say this, like again,
guns for hire.
it doesn't look great, but the charisma of its two leads, which I also believe like this is the reason this movie got made.
Absolutely.
Because you got these two to agree to it, and the studio, whoever financed was like, okay.
I mean, for fuck's
I'll
sake,
pay
John
for it
Cena
now.
made that Amy Schumer movie likable.
Is it Trainwreck?
Yeah.
And look, there's nothing that made me laugh out loud in this trailer, but I did genuinely have looking, even in the 2 minutes of this trailer, it's like, I enjoy these two characters, I think.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of seems like, are you just playing Jackie Chan and John Cena?
Right.
And
Is it-
honestly,
it's
if
one of
that's
those-
what you're doing, I'm also on board for that.
It's one of those things that if you were like on anything but Netflix now, you'd be like, you know what? I'll put
You know,
this
yeah.
on tonight.
If this was on Netflix, they'd probably be like, oh, it was a decent Netflix movie. And Expendables looks worse than a Netflix movie.
It really does look bad.
Go watch the trailer for Extraction 2 with Chrissy Hemsworth. Like that is a movie that does look like this should go to a theater.
That
And
is,
Expendables shouldn't.
does something like this going to theater still make you mad about Prey? Is it just always eating at the back of your mind?
What makes me mad about Prey is that I'm never gonna be able to fucking own it. That it's stuck into Hulu.
You get Expendables though.
Probably in a steelbook,
Absolutely. It's gonna look-
DVD and 4K.
it's gonna look like an ammo box. That's what they'll do.
But at the same time with Prey, you know what? If it wasn't for that Hulu deal, they probably wouldn't have made that movie.
True.
So, and again, that movie costs less than Expendables as well and looks better. So those were two trailers.
Yeah, the other one I have is Skull Island. From
So yeah,
Netflix.
Netflix show. I saw it days ago, and I was going to text
I
you.
did too.
I was like,
I just tried to rewatch
You
it.
probably already saw this, because
Yeah.
I don't know if you have alerts on your computer that just tell you when this shit pops up. But
It's Friends.
But I feel like I was like, if I've seen it, he already knows about it.
Yep.
But
It's weird.
it seems aimed at not
Show-
kids, but
it seems
12-year-olds?
It seems very, very like you have no like knowledge in this area. There's a show called Total Drama Island on Cartoon Network.
you don't know. I have knowledge. I know about Total Drama, not the island though.
You don't know about how big that fandom was throughout the years. It was like literally Survivor for kids, and everyone had their favorite.
Sorry, the concept of someone pitching like it's like Survivor, but for kids.
I mean, literally, they have a parody character of.
oh no,
the dude from
I
Survivor.
believe you, and I also believe that was literally how it was pitched
Yeah.
for someone too.
But they had actual people, like actual kids, going every week, being like, "I want this character to do this, this, and this." This show feels designed to be, or it's designed to be aimed at people and children like that, so they can talk about it online with their friends. Just get a nice social media buzz with some friend groups where they're like, "Oh, I like Darren. No, I like Zeke." Like,
I like fucking King Kong. You like fucking King Kong? What?
it's just it feels weirdly childish.
You know,
Out
much
of
like
nowhere.
the movie, King Kong doesn't seem to feature in this very much. I mean, he's clearly
He was
in
there
it,
twice and he ate an alligator.
and I don't dislike, but also don't care for the look of Kong in this. Like granted, we didn't get scale and scope of him, but he kind of looks small
Yeah, it's really strange.
and literally like a monkey. I mean, I know that's what he is, a giant one, but he doesn't look
He's an ape.
monstrous.
He's not a monkey.
He
He's
looks
an
like, well, in this, he looks like a monkey to me. I mean, and look, some of the monsters that we saw in this look menacing and kind of cool.
ape. You
And
got the
it,
skull crawlers back.
those are probably the ones I thought looked cool. Actually, now I think about it. I didn't even
Yep.
think that those were skull crawlers. This reminded me, I watched about half of Pacific Rim, The Black, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, that cartoon.
This one's relatively new. I guess there's 2 Pacific Rim animes on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but it was a little bit childish, but a little bit dark, and it had clear CG animation with some 2D. And this also seems to have that same thing, but it seems a lot more CG and CG trying to imitate
Yes.
2D. And,
There's some
and I
scenes
think
in
they're doing
particular
it
that it hurts
to be
to look at.
dynamic, to like have things move around, or have the camera move. But at least the shots they use in this trailer, it didn't look good. In the water specifically, there's a shot where the 2, I guess, leads wash up on the island, and like the water's like hitting their feet, and it just looks like they're not there. Like it looks like
It looks like
a PS2 video game.
yeah, like a vector image on top of another image.
And it's like you should just draw water.
It's really strange. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I might check it out.
In my head, I also went back to the ARC trailer that you had shown me.
Which have a
to
very
which-
similar look.
I think because this is we saw a teaser for this previously. This is now
Yeah,
the
but-
first trailer.
Yeah, it was like maybe 15
And
seconds.
in the teaser, it was, you and I both were like, "Is this the ARC team?" Because it looks like same thing.
Yes. I
I
believe it's the Pacific Rim team for sure.
And this, if this is the case, too, like this seems like they were rushed.
Yeah. I
And I don't know why, because like you're not tying into like
there's
New
still
Empire or whatever it's called is so far out. We haven't even seen anything from it.
there's still an Apple show that is
Maybe it's
supposed to be coming out
maybe
soon.
it's that they haven't had
Maybe.
anything in the universe
Yeah, Monarchs.
since Godzilla vs. Kong, and that was
It's 2020.
2021.
No, it's 2020.
It's 2021 because Warner Brothers put it on HBO Max right off the bat. So it was early 20 because it was one of the first. It was one of the first movies
I
So
thought it
is
was still
that-
2020.
in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So it's been a while, but it's also like, yeah, but you don't. It's not. It's King Kong and Godzilla. Like we will remember. Take 6 more months at
Yeah,
the very
it's-
least and
it's
clean
fine.
up this animation, if only that. But
Well, I mean,
also
the Godzilla movies on Netflix look terrible as well.
beyond, I couldn't. I tried and it was like,
Yeah.
I don't like the story that they're telling with that.
Yeah,
but
it was not very
I did like the idea of the giant Godzilla, but also the writing in this, again, just from the trailer, the jokes, while they seem not just juvenile but bad, with the ending one, which is like that should be your strongest thing, really.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know what they should have called this island? Not Skull Island, but really not good island, or something along that
Like
line.
what is
Really
that?
sucks island.
That's just awful.
It's like Yeah. Yeah. Having a bad
Then
day
again,
island,
thinking about the dialogue from the humans in the other MonsterVerse movies, it's not too far off.
I guess.
Yeah, that's my last trailer.
I think to wrap up the trailers and then head into our review for the Spider-Verse, let's talk about we got a new trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
There's more mutants.
I don't have a lot to say about the trailer. I'm going to say this. Look, I've been sold on this from teaser 1. And at this point, I'm going to tap out on any other trailers. I'm not watching anything else before this movie comes out.
Right.
They even moved the date of the movie up. Not by very much. I think it moved up by like a week.
Yeah.
It could have been to avoid something else, but also to me that also says like they reacted, I think, to the public's reaction, which was positive. It's like, oh shit, people, we might have something good. Let's get it out earlier. I love that the animation is something different, and this trailer continued like it didn't make me go like, oh no, this might not be good. It
Right.
continued to make me think like, I think this is going to be really
Yeah.
cool, and
It
you
looks
do get a look
solid.
at some more of the mutants. You don't get a clear look at a lot of them, but
Right.
the clear too that the movie is about like there's gonna be a lot of mutants in this.
And also kind of feels like, oh, these are the cool kids leading the turtles down the wrong path, which is a more unique story to tell for them.
And also, speaking of animated humor and jokes, well, no, it's not. This isn't laugh out loud hilarious, but at one point, when in this trailer, and the turtles were like, "Our dad's definitely not a giant rat."
Yeah.
The way that April delivers that makes me think that he is a rat. Like, it was like, that's funny.
That's
I'm not
actually-
cracking up about it, but like,
It's humor.
funny joke.
See, it's funny. I'm not laughing, but it's funny. God damn it.
And even towards the end of the trailer, well, like gearing up for the last little action bit, and Raph's like, enough. I dream about fighting every night. And they're like, you have a anger problem. He's like, it's not a problem. That's also funny to me. And also it's like, yeah, that's Raphael. Like, you're giving me, I know I'm getting the turtles. They're young.
Red always means angry. It always has.
I want you to make some mutants bleed. So, yeah, it's a good trailer. The only thing I wish, like, I would like to get a good look at Bebop and Rocksteady, or know how much they're going to play into this.
Right.
But at the same time, like, we're getting so many mutants here. I'm cool with it. And yeah, this will segue us in. Like, this movie, I do firmly believe we're getting because of Spider-Verse.
Absolutely.
Or at the very least, the look and the feel of it is because of Spider-Verse.
Going into the theater and seeing something like that, I feel like in IMAX will look awesome.
I think this is truly an actual reset or for a new generation. Like, here are your Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's nice because the 3D ones, while the movies actually weren't that terrible,
I liked the 3D movie, and I wish that it had gotten to continue.
like it's or the live action movie, not the 3D one, the Megan Fox one.
Oh,
They weren't the worst movies. They weren't good, but they weren't terrible. They're just very ugly.
yeah, they're a thing. And that was for me a realization too of like,
I don't want
They're
that
not-
to be the end of the Ninja
they're
Turtles.
not-
Is that
they're not making, these aren't made for me.
right?
There's also like, I don't know if do modern kids want this Ninja Turtles?
I mean, the Nickelodeon 3D animated one did really well.
Which is again why I
Kids
did really
fucking love
like
that one.
the CG animated movie is really good. I would
From
still
2003.
I would still say it's good. Like, go if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
I still haven't watched it. I really should.
It's got some. I mean, yeah, I think you know what? Even just from memory, I bet I would still say the animation in it holds up in regards of like it was good. Not just for the time, but just be like good.
I
There's
bet
a
it
fight
does.
between Raph and Leo because of course there is in the rain. That is like, yep, this is the part where the whole movie is built around. Like, look what we did. But
That's cool. I'm really. I need to watch that. I'll probably watch it before the new one comes out.
but yeah, it didn't do well, so like they didn't continue that story. And
Of
actually, that 3D,
Well, it was confusing.
that CG one is supposed to be in continuity with the first two live action movies.
That's what made it so confusing.
So they think Shredder is dead because they hint at it, and Shredder's dead, and someone's like, he's not dead. And I think the next one of these animated ones was going to bring Shredder back. I was like, oh.
He fell in the back of a garbage truck, like
So there's little inconsistencies, but it is clear, like, oh, you are a sequel to that. That's cool. But
It's nice to have something fresh, like genuinely fresh.
and I mean, with this one too coming up, I'm not gonna lie, like I hope and assume that they are going to set up Shredder in this. I know he's not in this movie. He's not the bad guy. But I assume that an end credit scene is going to be like,
No, I'm starting to think
fuck
that
is going
Shredder is overrated. I think it's time to give villains who have never had a spotlight
I
a
mean,
good
if you're
spot.
going to put Krang in there and give Krang an actual cinematic go.
Fuck you! I gave you the best segue in the world.
Oh, you should say Spot. That's a villain of the week. So we want to talk about a Raka Kid in the multiverse of media tying Easter eggs
Yes,
and webs.
the,
Or its alternate title.
the interwebs.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1. You know, here, I want to say before you even start, we will try to talk about this without doing spoilers. I'm going to go ahead and spoil this for you. I'm going to tell you, like, not only go see it, but this is a buy it on our rating scale. Buy this movie. For me, just speaking for me, I loved it. And I think the less that you know about it going into it, the better.
Okay.
So that literally anything as we discuss it is kind of a spoiler. And yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Okay. Did you enjoy your Burger King meal? Your Spider-Verse meal?
No, because it's just a fucking Whopper.
Yeah, they didn't give us the red buns, those bastards.
But we did strangely get a cup of Play-Doh.
I don't know why we got Play-Doh. That
Yellow Play-Doh that has nothing to do with Spider-Man.
Maybe that's some kind of Spider-Verse.
I
That's
feel like that was someone. I don't think it has anything to do with Burger King.
No,
I think someone dropped some shit in there.
I don't know. Maybe they ran out of toys and they're just like, fuck it, go to Kroger across the street and get something.
Does Burger King even have toys anymore? I mean, didn't
They literally have Spider-Man toys on the menu picture. But like seriously, that was so stupid. But if it's still here, because maybe it's gone, maybe it got swallowed back up. Maybe what's the fucking dude's name? Spider 2099. Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man 2099
Yeah, maybe he came back and he took all of them.
fixed it.
Yeah, but you can still enjoy the Spider-Verse sundae if the ice cream machine works in our universe.
I'm sure that it doesn't.
It's got little sprinkles that look like Spider-Man heads. There's black and red ones.
You really delighted in this.
I did. It's really nice to talk about it. They called it Enter the BK verse.
Gross. I
I'm
don't
not-
want to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
I wonder how much money Burger King had to spend to fucking secure.
They've
Yes.
always had Spider-Man. Their first colored bun ever was for Spider-Man 3, and it gave people black poop.
My poop's usually a healthy shade of black. Is that not normal?
There might be a little blood in your stool, my friend. This movie has had a killer opening. It made all the money that the first movie made, like
Yeah.
within 12 days.
So that it's the first film total worldwide made $384 million.
And it's pretty incredible.
It didn't start out great.
No,
Um,
what had just come out? Fast, right?
I don't remember where it came out. I mean, this was 5 years ago.
Oh, I meant this one.
Oh, no. I meant, so the first movie didn't start out great as
Oh,
far
yes.
as box office. I mean, well enough, but like it's word of mouth.
It was
I
absolutely word of mouth.
I didn't see it in theaters because they're just like, Sony, Spider-Man, animated. I mean, I like Miles Morales, but like, who cares?
Yeah, we're tired of this. We just got Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I don't give a shit about this cartoon one.
And then a friend brought it over on DVD. He's like, you got to watch this. And I was like, all right.
I was in college and someone said, you need to watch this movie strictly for one scene and you'll know when it happens. So I was like, fine, I'll go see it. And when that
What was-
scene happened,
what
I was
was
like,
the
oh
scene?
my fucking God. The What's Up Danger scene.
Oh.
Possibly the best scene in any movie for me.
It's pretty good.
It's a really good scene.
I mean, if you liked the first one at all, I think it's easy to say you're going to love this one. If you didn't like the first one, this is not going to change your mind. Like it's more of that. I think it's in some ways it's a little bit calmer with its animation styles. So I feel like the first one from scene to scene could change its own animation styles or add layers to certain things. This one doesn't seem to do that. It's more of the Spider-Men have their own animation style and the worlds have their own style, but that's not as chaotic, I guess. But I will
actually
say
hard
that
disagree with you there.
I will say that I think the first one is funnier. This one's still
Yeah.
funny, but I think the first one is just funny, is more comedic. This one, I would say, is more dramatic and actiony. Now, again, I'm not saying that the animation's calmer in this. I didn't feel that it was as all over the place within the world.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit with the spot fight, the opening spot fight.
I don't know. There was some stuff that was a bit all over the place.
There are, and I guess we'll get into that. But yeah, in 12 days, the first movie made $394 million in its total run. In 12 days, this one has made 389, 225 of that being in the U.S. So suck it, Fast X.
Seriously.
And I do think I think this is a bigger. I'm not gonna say it's better than the first one, but it's at the same level. And I am really impressed at there are things in the story and characters that are directly tied to the first movie in a way that it makes it seem like they planned this out, and I know that they didn't. Specifically the villain Spot. You find out his origin, it is tied to the first movie. And I was like, that's really clever that you made it that.
Right.
Because Spot was not planned. He was not the writer's original villain for this. There's some other stuff, some plot twists that I do think they had planned.
Right.
Obviously, Spider-Man 2099 because he is in the end credits of
Yeah, he
first one.
was there.
But I still don't think all of this story was mapped out. It's just like, maybe if we do another one. And the way they pull it together here is amazing. And I think this is some of the best voice acting I've heard in an animated feature. There's little things
I can hard agree with. Or actually, you know what?
everyone does, like from Haley Steinfeld to Shamar as Miles Morales. Little bits of just, this sounds terrible, but just like real acting, like just little huffs and it's not anime huffs.
Yeah, like
but like in dialogue, just like it feels like a real person talking and having an emotion. And I think it's aided by some animation. Specifically, I noticed I was watching some of the mouth work.
Yeah.
And not just that they're in sync, but it's like they animated it in a way of like, oh, you're actually like you're capturing performance.
So
Almost to the point where sometimes it was Avatar like for me of like, did you just photograph their fucking mouths?
Oh yeah. I liked this movie. I didn't love it.
So on our rating scale, would you still tell people to go see it?
I would say see it.
But not buy it.
I was disappointed. I was actually disappointed by this movie. I left the theater thinking, did I actually like that?
Because we have not talked about this at all.
We have not.
So this is news. This is fresh content for you all.
Yeah. So
heated debates coming.
Yeah.
He did tell me he was looking forward to this. So I guess maybe he suspected that I really liked it.
My biggest issue, and this is I've seen other people say it too.
You're wrong.
The movie's extremely hard to hear. I don't know what was going on with the voices, but especially at the beginning and lots of stuff in the middle, it's like audio wasn't synced up right or it wasn't leveled right where Gwen Stacy's doing her like talk at the beginning and it felt like it was so damn quiet at some parts that I couldn't understand.
Did you see it in IMAX?
I did.
That's weird. So then we saw it in the same theater because we only have one IMAX where we live. I didn't have that. I mean, I sat
in a good seat. I was in the middle of everything. So
I did have a little trouble with Spider-Punk, but I think that's more of the accent he was doing.
Spider-Punk I had some stuff with him too.
If anything, it wasn't that the dialogue or anything was quiet. Sometimes it would just be that the score was almost Christopher Nolan level of
like the music was weird.
Ooh, it's a bit much. And as far as look, if I was at home, like I'd probably captions.
Yeah.
But I do that. Honestly, now it's a lot of stuff. But no, I didn't have that. I didn't have that issue. And
it wasn't often, but when it happened, it was pretty it was to the point where I was like, fuck, I wish I could rewind because I know I just missed something.
Really, my Spider-Punk would be my only thing. And that was largely based on the accent.
Right.
Even though I'd say that Spider-Punk was one of my favorites.
This movie is technologically amazing and it's beautiful. And down to some styles of animation, it's insane to even think that it's possible to be on screen with something else that's in a completely different style.
Speaking of Spider-Punk, every
his
individual part of his body is animated at a different frame rate.
Which is he looks like a Ramones album.
Sex Pistols cut up, which is first of all, that's just cool. And then when I found out you did them all at different frame rates, you didn't have to do that.
That's a challenge. Get that skin in Fortnite. See if their art team can do that. All the other Spider-Men are, except for him.
I know Optimus Prime is in there as of this week.
Sure is.
There's, I mean, so I will say, yeah, there is a lot. And like the first spot fight almost was exhausting for me of like, fuck, stop moving.
Yeah, yeah.
Or really wanted Miles like, web him down. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
understand
yeah.
how he works with web him down. But I was still impressed by like the staging of the action. And I will say, I think you can pause this movie at any single
Oh,
frame and
yeah,
it's like, this is
absolutely.
a work of art.
Literally.
This is
Like,
a work of art. I
there's
like the
some-
fact that Spot is also, when you look at him, he's blank white and he's got these moving spots which are like portals.
Right.
But you also, if you notice, like he's got the kind of human sketch work underneath that of what any animator would do to start drawing a human body. And I was like, that's such a cool detail that only works in animation as well
Yeah.
that you would do that.
There's a scene where Gwen and Miles like sit down together, but they're upside down.
Oh yeah.
And it was animated so well that it's like, what the fuck? Like, why does that look so good when they're sitting upside down?
It took me a minute to feel like normal. It's like it's a shot like it's the right way up, but like I know you're
Yes.
upside down because Gwen's hair. And I feel like they had her take the hood off so we could see the hair and be like they're upside down.
Yeah, specifically for that.
I feel like we need to just go ahead and do the spoiler alert because I don't feel like you can talk about like everything is a spoiler in this movie.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that we can not spoil is like obviously there's going to be another one. They changed the title of the movie from part 1 to
I like the
that.
change. I like not one that's not just part 1, part 2, but Across the Spider-Verse. The next one's going to be Beyond the Spider-Verse.
and
And this isn't a spoiler. The cliffhanger that we're given here, because we are, in fact, it ends with to be continued, is earned versus what I talked about earlier with Fast X, where it ended in an action scene. This I did feel like you've ended from like you reached a conclusion of this part of the story, and I did see this twist, the last bit that they did. I saw it coming like probably a minute beforehand. I want to give props to the kid who wasn't annoying in my theater, who I heard him though in this call out the twist before it happened. Is like, dude, I'm not even your parent, but like I'm pretty impressed by you. Like you're like 6 or 7 years old. Like I've seen movies, so I knew that this was what was going to happen. You haven't. That's cool, dude. That's cool that you figured out. I don't think the movie's trying to hide it from you either, but the other twist leading into that, I did not really foresee, and I was also like, that's really clever.
Yeah.
And again, I can't bring it up without spoiling anything, but I
Yeah.
do want to talk about this twist.
we can go ahead and go into spoilers now because a lot of the gripes that I have, it has to be in spoilers.
And like I said, if you are thinking about seeing this, I'd say go see it. It needs to be seen in a theater.
Just for the artwork alone, it's worth seeing.
And even if you're like Nemo and I guess some other people too, where it's like I can hear the dumb words they're saying. It's like, well, you still saw a lot of pretty stuff though, right?
It's the same deal with Avatar where it's like this is a spectacle.
Oh, before you even get to spoilers, we can kind of say the opening of the movie is like it's like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Before you get
It actually
to
surprised me.
the
Like
title. I thought we just weren't going to get like a title.
I didn't
thing.
think so either. When it actually did the title, I was like, "What?"
And
It's
I also
been like
was kind
20
of
minutes.
surprised at 10 minutes is like, are we just hanging out with? Is this Gwen's movie? Because like
Yeah.
it just opens on Gwen and like we're just with Gwen for 20 minutes, which I also think is great. It's like actually, I mean, she had a character in the last one, but it's like she has a story going on here too. She's actually, I mean, a big part of the story.
This isn't really a spoiler at all, but Spider Pig and Spider Noir are not in the movie. Like they had their time to shine in the first one.
Robo Spider is in the movie, but briefly and towards
Yeah.
the middle.
And for one, I am glad because Spider Pig almost ruined the first movie for me.
He is, I mean, as all of them are. I mean, he's a very different version take.
I hate those types of characters, but when they actually did it for the real movie, not just trailer stuff, I was like, oh, he's not actually like this horrible shut the fuck up character. He's not a Howard the Duck.
They used him sparingly.
And Black Noir Spider-Man was cool. And
I honestly could probably watch
yeah.
an animated movie of Spider Noir
But
with Nicolas Cage.
he had so much going on in the first movie that I'm like, you know what, you've done what you can do with him.
Well,
Save
this,
him.
You know, this did take, and like I said, I like that this doesn't just feel like, oh, we made one movie and it turned out to be popular, so we're going to make sequels. even though I like this series, I'll say the Matrix. Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions have a little divide between them and the Matrix of like, this didn't need to exist and like this is a little
Yeah.
bit different because of the narrative things that they do that tie this back to the first one, where it is like, oh, this is gonna, when this is all done, this is gonna play like a real trilogy of like, this was always the plan to do all of this. But the first one was, yeah, you're gonna meet a team of very different Spider-Men that are gonna come to Miles's world. This one was, Miles is gonna learn that there's a whole bunch of other worlds out there.
He's gonna go to their world.
And honestly, I would say too is like what Multiverse of Madness didn't give us,
This
this movie did.
absolutely did.
But yeah, the opening fight with Spider-Gwen and Da Vinci Vulture.
Which animation wise, possibly my favorite from the whole thing.
There's so many cool ideas in this that I think even if you don't like Spider-Man, if you're just a fan of animation, then you need to watch this movie.
Absolutely.
And I actually do think this can work even if you are not a fan of Spider-Man. Yeah, there'll be things that you
I mean,
references that you won't, it won't be impactful.
I
You
like
won't care about.
Spider-Man, but like I don't know who the fuck Miguel O'Hara is. Like all
I
that
don't
kind
know
of
enough
stuff.
about, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, let me
Yeah,
explain.
yeah. Like, but I don't need to know. Like,
In the movie, for the
I got
characters
it.
that we spend time with, they kind of give you enough. And then, yeah, if you are a Spider nerd, I think this movie is probably going to be dissected for years because
for sure.
there's so much hidden in there. But I also think this is better than a movie I haven't seen yet, but that's coming up, The Flash. That's also going to be cameo fan servicey. I think you could take out all the Easter eggs in this movie and all the fan service stuff, and it will still work. And would still be what I'm saying is a good movie,
right.
or at least very least a good simple story. The Easter eggs and all the other stuff is just icing, and I don't feel like it's overdone.
No,
it is in
I mean,
service
like,
of the story.
There's a ton of stuff that I didn't get. There was one part which we can get into where a bunch of people were like, "Ooh!" like in the theater, and
Ooh, I wonder what that is.
and it took me a
'Cause
minute to be
I
like,
had a couple
"Oh,
moments where it's
that's
like,
something."
where even I was like, oh,
Um,
I can't believe they did that.
You know what? Also, I want to say this. Props to this movie. I saw this at 1:00 on a Monday, and the theater was packed.
Well, it is summer, but also
but still,
yeah.
like 1:00 on a Monday, that's pretty crazy.
I think in the 5 years since the first one, it has been word of mouth. It has been people like, no, you need to see this. Even for all the crap that we give Sony, and we'll continue to give them for the poor movies that they do, I still think Spider-Verse worked because I don't think they believed in it.
Absolutely.
And I think they probably left those animators and studio loans like, do whatever. And then they turned out like, oh shit. Oh, holy shit. You made, whoa. This is really good.
Exactly.
I mean, crap. I was going to say something. I was like, no, that's a spoiler too. Because I don't want to spoil any of the places that we go or the things that you see.
Let's go. Let's just go to the spoilers.
But I do want to say the Vulture, the Da Vinci Vulture, was really, really clever and cool. To where I kind of was like, oh, I wish he would come back. And he was like a menacing villain.
I kind of wanted to see his Spider-Man.
And actually, he's the only one in the entire movie that anyone calls out their style.
Mhm.
You notice nobody else, even when we go to like Spider-Verse HQ and you see a bunch of stuff, like no one's like, you look weird. Like, what is going on with this? Or this isn't really a spoiler, I guess, but like there's some live action stuff that shows up in this. And like, again, nobody's like, what's up? Why do you have 3 dimensions? Except for Da Vinci Vulture, where she's like, are you made out of paper?
Like, yeah.
Which was like,
It's-
yeah,
yeah.
he is its art style, but he is also made out of paper. And it's like, this is okay. This is very cool. It's almost like off the bat, like you're telling me as a movie for me, I was like, okay, you still have plenty of ideas.
Absolutely.
So yeah, my recommendation, see it. I'm buying it day one.
I'm saying see it. I'm going to say tentative. I'm buying it. I'd like to see how it wraps up.
So if Beyond the Spider-Verse really tells a good story for you, will it fix some issues that you felt like you had with this?
Possibly. It'll at least make it feel better.
Okay, so spoiler alerts out of the way.
All right.
Okay, so first thing I've got to bring up.
Yes. I'll let you go first. I'll let you nerd out.
No, you tell me, what was the ooh moment in your theater?
Insomniac Spider-Man.
Okay, so yeah.
I didn't know what that meant because I don't own PlayStation. It took me a minute.
I think as soon as we're introduced back to Miles and he goes back to his dorm room,
It's fucking Spider-Man 2 or something, right? It didn't look
and
like the new Spider-Man.
I'm pretty sure it's a PS4 Spider-Man.
Okay.
And I want to say it may even be the new one that's coming out,
Which, I mean, yeah, Miles Morales is a big part of that.
but I don't know. But I could tell like that's weird you're playing, and I kind of thought that would be it. But then later on when we go to the Spider-Verse, I mean he's not hidden, but he's like I think it even pops up and says like
Yeah, it
PS4
It
Spider-Man.
literally has like
And
a
it was
logo.
I was just like, huh, all right, that's wild. My moment was Donald Glover being in here as the Prowler, which he is in Homecoming.
He is.
He's not the Prowler yet, but there's hints that he is a Prowler, and he mentioned he has a throwaway line technically of he has a nephew that lives in the neighborhood, which is like, oh,
Yep.
Miles Morales.
Yep.
So seeing him here as the Prowler, it was like, and I didn't know that. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is very cool.
it did take me just like for a second
And-
to even like realize what was happening.
I don't remember the context anymore of the total line, but they also referenced No Way Home and the Doctor Strange incident. I was like,
They did that in the trailer.
see, I didn't see that trailer. Like,
Actually, they put that line in a different place in the trailer, and then it was completely different in this movie, which I was like, that's kind of neat.
even the one and only trailer that I did watch of this, I wish that hadn't, because it didn't spoil
I think he
necessarily
said it
anything,
in the first trailer.
but it did. I mean, they put like the ending action scene technically is in there.
Mhm.
What were the other things that I really like?
You're so excited to get to the
Um,
spoilers. Now you're
The Peter.
blacking out.
So Gwen's not flashback, but I guess it was flashback of what happened to her, Peter Parker, and her becoming Spider-Woman. We're kind of showing that a little bit in the first one, but it's made to look like the lizard killed her Peter.
Mhm.
But that's not the case. Her Peter turned into the lizard and was like, that's cool. And
So
it's a
this
cool
is, this
take.
is one of the scenes I had an issue with. The music didn't fit. The music just straight up did not fit that at all.
I'll be honest. I don't remember the music that was going on in that scene
Like
at that
that-
point. I was never, but I will say I was never taken out of this movie by the music. I noticed the music
that was one that did take me out of it.
that it had much more score. It didn't have very many licensed songs or
Mhm.
hip hop songs.
It didn't.
And
And
the score also seemed
this is one of those
darker.
moments where it played a copyright song.
was it Take on Me?
No, it wasn't. I don't know. It's just the tone of it just didn't feel
Was it
right.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn?
It was. No one in that town was getting any sleep.
Going to a Lego universe, which I thought would be a throwaway gag, but then we go back there
Yeah.
and have Lego Spider-Man call into 2099. I was like, didn't expect this. And apparently
No.
that wasn't, because it doesn't look like the Lego movie, which would be the easiest thing.
No,
because
it was real stop motion.
because it was Lord Miller. That's who did the Lego movie. Apparently there's some kid, I guess, who went viral years ago,
Forest Fire, I believe.
and they brought him in to do it because it looks, I mean, it looks good, but it looks different, and it doesn't look like Lord Miller's Lego movie, like smooth. It looks
I mean, that set, the Daily Bugle, you can buy that set. That's a real set.
so that for me with you, I was like, well, he had to love this. I have to imagine
That was cool. That was very cool.
J.
J. Jonah Jameson is back once again as
I mean, look,
like
when J.K. Simmons dies, then
Yeah.
we have to just live action retire J. Jonah Jameson because
Yep.
who else are you gonna have do it?
it was just nice to have him back, but it also was interestingly enough the No Way Home version of him, like the InfoWars
Mhm.
version.
And then we also in archive footage we get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as we kind of get the actual
and-
plot of this movie explained
And
to us.
both dead Uncle Bens.
Right. So in both of their crying scenes, we don't get any Tom Holland. If I don't remember, I don't believe Tom Holland was shown.
I think
in
I'm pretty
this.
sure that's one of those things. It's like, well, he said got licenses to pay Disney if we use that one.
But I mean, they mentioned No Way Home, so like he is technically in there. But
They didn't name the right Earth though.
actually, I think that they did. Marvel in the MCU in Multiverse of Madness, they had her say 616,
Ah,
which is what is the comic book universe in which but the cinematic universe is not the comic books. So it was actually wrong to have her say 616.
This is all very stupid.
The universe, whatever number they made up, I think is also could just be made up.
It was like 19999.
I caught it. I caught that that they didn't say 616, and I was like, "Oh, are you calling Disney out on the mistake that they made?"
I'm pretty sure they also had a jab at Morbius in there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure that there was.
I think they said that that Miles fought a vampire, and there is a Lego set with Morbius versus.
But we do
Morales.
get a little hint of like Miguel O'Hara 2099 having.
Yeah, he's a vampire.
Well, this I do know of 2099. He has venomous fangs. I don't know if they're in him.
Oh, I thought he was straight
part
up
of
a
his
vampire.
suit. I think, and these are all kind of variants on things anyway. Because I mean, the other part of the plot of this is one tragedy has to happen to every Spider-Man for them to become Spider-Man, and if that doesn't happen, the universe can fall apart. And we kind of get a look at that. And then the other thing is that this was a plot twist I didn't see coming. Miles is not supposed to be Spider-Man. That the spider that bit him came from another universe. And that is a really clever thing because in the first movie, the spider that bites him is glitching out. And I didn't even think about it in watching that movie. One of the things that glitch are things that are in universes they don't belong in.
Yep.
So it did come from a different universe. I was like, that's fucking clever. Like, I don't know if you guys knew where you're going to take that, but like,
That was
You
that
did-
was good,
you
and
did
also a
set that
really
up.
nice way to set up more of the Spot's backstory.
and then the whole thing with the Spot was just like the lab heist in the bagel from the first movie, and that's him. Was like, that's crazy.
It's kind of like the polka dot man from Suicide Squad, where it's just like this dumbass who becomes
So
like really fucking strong.
I mean, it is, and that's he's kind of presented this movie. And I going in, I thought like he's not going to be a big part of this, or
Mm.
he is a villain of the week, or he's he's a D-list fucking
Yeah.
character.
like F list, I would say.
And they are making, and he is the villain of this movie, and he's basically acquiring more power so that he doesn't even really want to take out Miles. He just wants Miles to acknowledge him as like, I am your nemesis.
Which is
You created me,
that
I
is-
created you.
that is a plot from another thing that I know about. That I've seen.
Lego Batman movie where Joker wants to be acknowledged by
I
Batman.
haven't watched that.
Or I mean, there's
There's something like that. Anyway,
this isn't like that part of the story is not an original.
even
thing.
down to his voice actor being Jason Schwartzman gives him this comedic vibe that you're not really to take him seriously.
But then as he starts getting power, and by the end there is a sinisterness towards like, dude, this fucker is
He's insane.
this dude's seriously dangerous. And even from our opening fight, that was a comedic joke, but I still was like, how are you gonna take this dude down? Because like he clearly can just get out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then the fact that his spots, are actually portals to other dimensions, which makes sense because he got his powers from the Collider. And then he goes to the Venomverse, which is like, ugh, I don't like being here.
I was gonna say, I bet you hated that.
But the fact that Venom's not mentioned, like the only reason I know it is like, well, this lady's in the trailer of Venom, so I know that that's where we're at.
What I want to know is how many
And
people
I like that
actually
he's
got
even
that.
like, why are you not freaked out by this? And it's like, oh, because well, she sees fucked up shit all the time.
That's where the turd in the wind scene happened.
I mean, this is a movie that's full of stuff that scene's still funny without knowing it's Venom or anything. Like it's just like, yeah, this Asian convenience store lady who's not impressed by an animated thing popping into her world, and then whatever.
Yeah, that one actually did kind of annoy me.
I like that it's quick. It's like we don't
It
linger
wasn't
on
quick though. It lingered.
It lingered on her face, but we don't get any Tom Hardy. Venom's not
That was
there
fine.
or mentioned, and it's just kind of like it's almost like, oh, you guys are going to incorporate everything that
That's why I said I'm pretty sure
Spider-Man.
they mentioned Morbius. Okay, so one of my big issues with this, going back into Gwen.
Let me defend.
Okay, this is multiverse. It's on time travel. The passage of time does not make any sense. Strictly because of them adding in the Spider-Woman character who's pregnant. Really bothers the shit out of me.
You mean that she remains pregnant through the whole movie?
Yes.
But 3 months pass.
We don't even know how long really has passed.
Gwen says a few months, or a couple or a few months, and I think when she goes back home, no, her dad doesn't say how long she's been gone. But
you
when
can
she
see that
goes-
her and
when
Spider-Punk
Miles-
have like lived together at some point.
when Miles finally comes in to the HQ thing and he's kind of mad or whatever. I think she says it's been either a couple or a few months. I did have the thought of she's pretty pregnant when we were introduced to her. Granted, though, like I'm not. Look, you didn't tell me how far along she was.
Yeah.
But now I'd be like, girl, you should stop Spider-Man, and like you are dangerously pregnant then. And I did like I did have an issue with Peter B. Parker showing back up, and he's got a baby.
See,
And the baby I thought actually was pretty funny. But when he goes back at the end to go help Miles, and that he brings Mayday with him, which I do like that name.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Mary Jane just told you like to not do this. Like, maybe I'm just like, if you bring the baby, then it's got to be a whole plot point that we got to deal with all the time.
Yeah.
Just leave the baby. I just want you to be non-baby. But I get it. Like that's kind of the fun and the joke.
Yeah.
I did like the ending. So I'm gonna bring up the bigger twist of Miles wants to stop the tragedy, which is going to be his dad's going to die, and he thinks that no, we should stop. Like we can stop these. 2099 believes no. This is what's supposed to happen in every universe.
Yes.
You have to let this happen.
Something horrible has to happen.
And all this other Spider-Mans, I don't know if they all agree with him, but they all are going along with it. Miles, there's a machine to send people back to their universe, but it reads your spider DNA to do it.
When they said that it happened, I saw the ending coming a mile away.
So when it sent him back, I didn't see it sent him to the universe that spider came from.
I fully expected that.
But the way that they frame it, which is a trope of people are coming to this building, you think your hero's in there, but then it turns out they're not in the place that they were. And usually it's a trope for a reason. And usually it's very obvious, like, this is what's going to happen. Maybe just because I was I was into the story too.
You're webbed up in it.
But good. I mean, it caught me before they said it. But as it caught me, I was like, oh, it sent you to the. I was probably like 2 seconds behind Miles or in front of Miles of like, it sent you to the universe that Spider's from. Because even like Gwen sneaking, the way that they shot it and just cross cut, the reveal.
They did a good job.
It's I think it's the best version of that trope I've ever seen, where I was like genuinely like, oh, you actually kind of tricked me. Like I thought he was. When his mom was like, what are you talking about, Spider-Man? I was like, bitch, like Spider-Man's on the news all the time.
So that was what got me is like when she mentioned that, oh, your hair is different. I was like, oh, okay, of course. But
I was just like, well, I mean, he's been in a fight.
But
been in a whole spider chase.
Yeah, when they said at the beginning of the movie pretty much what that machine does, it's like, oh, it's gonna send him to the spider place. Because that's the classic thing, changing the DNA. But
and then we get the reveal that Miles in that universe is the Prowler.
Yeah. I did think, though, that his uncle would be his father in this universe. I thought that would be a switch they might make.
I thought that's what they were doing. I'm glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah. No, this is something like, I'm not the biggest fan of this ending because it doesn't really feel, you said it feels deserved. I don't know if it feels deserved because it's not as, I don't know if it felt as like climactic as other people felt. It just kind of felt like, yeah, of course, that's exactly what was going to happen. Maybe I was disappointed that he was just a Prowler again. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it ties it back into the family thing, and
I guess it does.
And
I am glad it's not. He doesn't have to fight his uncle again. That's fine.
In that, basically so far, most characters from the first one now are returned in some way.
Yeah,
which I think is fun storytelling. We don't hear them speak or anything, but the ending shot of the kind of spider team that's going to go find Miles.
That was cool. I like that.
Is Spider Ham and Spider Noir there? Because even though I was with you two, it's like, I mean, I'm kind of glad, I guess, that they're not here because like they were part of the first movie. But we got a whole movie without them, and the setup of the team back together again was like, oh, it literally made me happy of like, you're gonna go get them.
Now, my kind of prediction here is the Spot gave him a vision of what's gonna happen. How much do you think, or how much do you bet that what he saw is the Spider's universe? So that his dad dying was literally his dad in that universe who is dead.
Could be.
And that's what's going to change.
I really admit, like, I have no idea and how the next movie is going to go.
Me either. But that's kind of what I felt.
Part of me has a fear of like, how do you I'm not gonna say even top this, but like, can you keep this momentum of these two movies that you've already done? But I think again, having 5 years, and this even after COVID was done, like this got pushed back again.
Oh yeah, it did.
And I believe you can see it on screen of like, I believe everybody working on this like wants to give you the best thing. I mean, I would put this was a theater experience.
For sure.
I'm going to compare it to No Way Home, and that No Way Home was an amazing theater experience of just people fucking hooting and hollering. And
That was like a
seeing
fun
stuff.
social experience.
But when you watch, and No Way Home's still fun, I like it. But when you watch that at home by yourself, it's like, oh, something's missing.
A lot of this movie doesn't make sense, but it.
Well, that too. I mean, that was already the case. Was like without other people yelling and stuff. Like
Whereas this one
These are
is
weird
just
beats.
a spectacle to see on the screen.
this one, I already know. Like I can go watch this by myself, and I'm still gonna be like, wow.
I mean, there was
Look at
one
this.
scene in this movie that was like, well, pretty much just train scene alone. It was like, Jesus Christ, like
Apparently,
how
I've
do you
heard
manage to make
that
this feel so fast?
that entire chase, completing that took, I think I read somewhere like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the majority of the time, granted, obviously working on other parts of this too. I assume that this whole story has been broken out. So
Yeah.
I trust them that like, well, from what I've seen so far, I trust that where you take this is going to be good and satisfying.
I think the only other big disappointment I had with it, or gripe, I guess, I don't know if it's a disappointment. I really hated the recaps.
They did them less. I mean, that was I thought that was more. It was a joke on the first movie.
No, that was fine, but literally recapping the first movie is what annoyed me. It's like, we've seen the movie. You can recap. Oh, I'm Spider-Man, and this is my comic book, and this is my universe. That was completely fine. That was a funny trope from the first one. That's fine. But it's literally like Miles being like, my uncle died. I'm good at art. I'm a kid. Everyone came through a portal, and I sent them back. And it's like, we saw the movie. You don't have to. You took almost 10 minutes of the movie explaining stuff from the last movie that you do not need to do whatsoever. What do you think? People didn't see the first one? Like,
I still see it as part of the little comic book recap things, and kind of like Gwen's, which I guess she's telling us a story that's already happened because she said that she heard some, which she did. I don't know, but I didn't. I didn't have any
Yeah,
complaint with this.
I didn't
other
like that.
than, actually, no. I think really overall, like I didn't. I liked the entire complete package of this.
It did slightly feel like
People in my theater like sat around, even though the credits are not that long. Actually,
no.
they go really, really quick. Maybe because they're also animated, so it's like, wow, this looks fucking cool.
Yeah,
There is no end credit scene.
just the
It
logo
just tells
reveal.
you he'll be back. And here's, I kind of even thought, I was like, are you going to show a trailer? Like, nope,
Oh yeah.
just title.
I don't believe the first Spider-Verse did that either. Did an after credits.
It did. It had
Just a little meme.
it had the Spider 2099 after credit scene, and then at the very end of the credits had the Spider-Man meme, which they do again here.
Yeah.
And they still do a funny version of it, and it works in the narrative of like 2099's calling out to everyone's like, find him, get Spider-Man, and they're just like, you, like, oh, good.
You know what?
That's very funny.
I'm gonna give them credit for something. They managed to use a T-Rex and not revert to generic sounds. They gave it original sounds. How about that?
They didn't go to Universal and be like, hey, can we have that T-Rex sound? And again, that's like it's not a blink and you miss it thing, but that's the only time you're going to see like that. There it was, and there it's gone. Like there's so much. And I do want to point out the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, which is Scarlet Spider.
I was gonna say, I know that is a 90s Spider-Man that I have nothing to do with.
So
but you
yes,
hate him.
is a very 90s Spider-Man, and he's more like now, but he was hated for a very long time. He's tied to the Clone Saga thing, which people fucking hated. And he's also an epitome of 90s comic book edgy angst.
Yeah.
And he's animated like he's literally taken from the pages of a 90s comic, which is like, I like that look. He's voiced by Andy Samberg.
He looks like the PS1 look. Like art for PS1 art. Like not the actual games, but like what you would get on a cover of a PS1 game.
Yeah. And Andy Samberg is kind of mugging it up, but he talks like how 90s comic book characters thought in their thought bubbles.
Yep.
So he's like, I'm gonna go to the alley, check out what that sound was.
Yep.
Huh, nothing over here. nothing over here. And I've seen some people that are angry about it because like they're like, that's not, they wouldn't be okay with this. It's not how these characters behave. It's like, these are all versions of these characters.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
And I liked I liked that Ben Reilly was just played up like exactly as I see him as, which is, oh, you're angsty 90s Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Cool. I love the fact when 2099 was set out, like, we got to go get Miles, and he says, Ben, come with me. I was like, oh, great. I'm so glad that he's going to be like part of this and not just like, thought he was just going to be in the background.
My favorite Spider-Man, which was really surprising for me, was the Peter Parker.
Which that's an original design. There is a India
I've seen it
Spider-Man.
before. I
The
like
India
this
Spider-Man
version.
is terrible.
Yeah, it
It's
looks bad.
No thought put into it. This, I
It was
mean,
really fucking cool.
I'm not going to be surprised if Marvel's like, yep, we're just going to go ahead and change that. And we witness he's kind of what sets the plot technically off.
Mm-hmm.
Where eventually we are witnessing what will be his tragedy, where he can either save his love or her father, which is the police captain.
Yeah, the Gwen Stacy dad of this one.
And Miles saves the fathers and he saves the girl. So Miles prevented his tragedy. And then we see like a fucking black hole opens up.
I could see the next movie opening up with that universe collapsing.
Because a bunch of Spider-Man do show up to try to stop this from happening. So
Yeah.
we think that they fail, and it does.
That
would give, because 2099's kind of, I guess he's our villain or a secondary villain.
Yeah.
Even though he is a hero, he has a reason for believing what he believes.
But also, it seems like all the other Spider-Men fear him.
And I mean, well, look, he was pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
And like pretty scary. Chasing him on the train, and he was like, "You have claws." And I almost kind of believe,
played
like,
by
would you
Oscar Isaacs.
would you kill this kid?
Not the other one.
Not Pedro Pascal.
Not Pedro
Or
Pascal. this
Diego
time.
Luna. Who did? I mean, and again, foresight. Oscar Isaac did play him in the end credit scene of the first one.
It's kind of funny though that he does play two Marvel
He's
voice actors.
and I saw that he's the first actor to play 3 Marvel characters
Oh, he's the third one.
because he's Moon Knight.
I knew he's Moon Knight. Who's the
He's
other one?
also Apocalypse in the X-Men
Oh
Apocalypse
shit,
movie.
you're right. Huh. I thought you were gonna say that he's another Moon Knight. I thought this is what you were gonna go
Well,
for.
Moon Knight has 3 personalities.
Yeah,
so
I thought that's what you're gonna go for. But no, that was cool. I'm glad that it's Peter B. Parker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he took a real big backseat. I didn't want to see him as Spider-Man
I'm
again.
glad that he came back. I was,
I am glad that he came back.
and I like that there were story and jokes about
Where he was
where
like,
they kind of like blame him, like, this is your fault. Like,
Yeah.
you're a terrible mentor. And then like Miles does some shit, and he's like, well, I mean, he's beat your ass. So
Yeah.
like, I can't be that bad at this.
and then he was like,
And
you
he's
know,
even kind of proud of him when he pulls it off. He's like, all right.
you know, like even like
And
that,
he-
I thought that was cool. Like more than Gwen, because Gwen was like
And he does.
conflicted, but
He tries
was,
to
like, the whole time was like,
legitimately
go.
He also tries to legitimately reach out and explain to him like, this is how it is. Like we all have this. This happens.
But then he was also like, well, low key, you also changed my life, so maybe you can change your own life. So fuck it.
So like I said, I'm glad that it does look like the third one will kind of be bringing that team, our original team, back together. Like I said, Spider-Punk I thought was really cool, and I love that Spider-Punk.
I kind of hated him.
Spider-Punk.
Yeah,
I like that he's a plot device,
I-
almost literally.
yeah. I
A
just
plot
kind of found
device.
him annoying.
I find him to be the idea of an anarchist, of just like anything you
What-
say, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
opposite. Then,
That was
or
all
even
that
someone,
stuff
I
was
think
fine.
Miles even calls us like, then why are you here?
Yeah, I think that's what got me annoyed at some point.
But he did also kind of help set up where Miles's power, where he can
He
break through
redeemed
force
it.
fields.
He definitely redeemed it.
And he's like, yeah, just use your palms, man. And then it's like 10 minutes later that comes back, and he kind of hints to Miles, like, puts his palms up to tell him, like, remember what I said? And he's like, oh. So I do kind of like, I mean, if he doesn't show back up in the third one, I'll be like, that's fine.
I mean, it kind of seems like he might be just in his own place now because he gave his thing away,
Yeah, I mean,
or he's just stuck in Gwen Stacy's universe.
and-
One of the things.
and, we don't need it. And I want to talk about Gwen Stacy and her dad. The first one had a scene that did make me tear up and cry when Miles's dad is trying to talk to him through the door.
That is the opening to the best scene of the movie. So that's
and like Miles is in there, but he doesn't respond or whatever. And it's
because he can.
the speech is really good. It's a good speech, and
It's a really fucking good scene.
and you get this fatherly vibe too, where it's like, oh, this is very sad. Like, go hug him. Hell, even in this movie, towards the end, when we're in the other universe, I also was like, tell your parents you're fucking Spider-Man. Just tell them.
And of course,
Even though Gwen told you not to, but like, just do it.
I mean, that's the thing is none of them have ever done it. Maybe that's what's going to fix it.
Gwen goes back because her dad. The opening of the movie, her dad's going to arrest her because he's chasing Spider Woman down because they pinned Peter's murder on her.
Isn't it funny how the Andrew Garfield version, he's like, lets him go?
Well, he also dies,
Yeah, but
which was also kind of heartbreaking. Just like, I get that you're a cop and whatever, but like that's your daughter. Like,
yeah,
and again, towards like you could just make a whole movie about this.
I'm kind of like thought they might.
I mean, I will lie. I was like, I mean, I know Miles is in this because I have seen the trailer, but then when Gwen does end up going back home, and her dad's like, it feels like a real drama scene. Like her dad's happy to see her and happy to know she's alive, and then angry that she's been gone. Angry about obviously being lied to that you've been Spider-Woman this whole time.
Yeah.
And then she explains to him, she's like, I do this because, like, not I do this because of you, but like, you wear a badge to go out and do this and be a cop like this. I love the fact, honestly, that no one fucking says great power.
Oh, yeah.
Great responsibility. But that's basically what she's saying is like, this is how I'm doing that.
Right.
And he accepts it. And it's another one. There was another one of those moments of like the voice acting where it's like, did you just like mocap this shit? Like, were they in a room together actually acting this out?
Like bringing up Avatar again. Like
And
every time Zoe Saldana like screamed or something, it felt real.
It wasn't all of Gwen's world, but at least Gwen's home is always done in these like brushstroke watercolors that is different than anything else.
And Miles is kind of like almost like a 3D glasses.
And like hers at certain points even gets almost abstract, especially when she does reconnect with her dad.
The color grading on that was pretty cool.
And I was like, again, this is a level of detail that I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It was like, you didn't need to do what you're doing.
A lot of their colors in their universe was emotions, like emotion based.
Yeah, like Gwen's apartment would change based on like the way that their conversation was going. Which I mean, I know it's just for us. Like, I don't think they're like, I'm angry, so now the walls are red. But
I don't know. That's how this fucking movie and this universes work. There's a dude flying around like paper. I'm sure. Why not mood ring Gwen Stacy universe?
So overall, like I said, I thoroughly like this is a day one. I'm buying this.
One, you know what? 2 more gripes.
Okay, go.
The AI helper woman was almost
the Miss Minutes. That's not what she is, but
it was almost identical to the Wreck-It Ralph 2 thing. Down to
I don't know.
Glasses, heart-shaped glasses.
I don't know enough about 2099. She may be 2099 is I think that started 1998 or 99. She may be there. I'm not going to say one or the other.
Oh, go away.
My guess is that she probably is from the comics.
And the other one, Spider Bite.
Oh, the Avatar.
It was like she just was very similar to Shuri, where she kind of like knew everything.
Talking about the one who wasn't really there. She's just an avatar.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not my favorite.
I think she was just kind of annoying.
And she's not a plot device, but like she kind of is.
Yeah.
Had to be like someone who's not there so we could sneak around them, even though he could go invisible. Or he was invisible in that scene. I've also seen someone complain of the train fight. He's like, why doesn't he just go invisible immediately? It's like, well,
because we wouldn't have a movie.
Also, he's a teenager. He's still learning to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I do love the fact that he's not supposed to be Spider-Man. And Miles Morales as Spider-Man does have powers the other ones don't.
Yeah, with the
like just naturally, the electricity and the invisibility. Like that's not, others don't have that. So I kind of like that they also wouldn't really know, like, wouldn't expect, like, well, wait, what is.
Yeah, that's his thing.
He's invisible? I didn't know. Some of us can do that.
Is that like, it isn't his fate for him to have the great sorrow like everyone else. That's why I'm really thinking that.
I'm curious because I don't know in the Ultimate comic books where he comes from. I don't know exactly what happens. I do know Peter Parker does die and he becomes Spider-Man. And then later on when the Ultimate Universe collapses, Miles Morales is the only one that's like
Right.
he comes over and he's in our universe now, or 616 universe.
Yes.
But I think that his dad might also die. in
Yeah.
that. And I know in the Spider-Man PS4 game, not the one you play as Miles Morales, and just the Spider-Man game, Miles Morales is in it, and his dad dies in it as well.
I could also see them
So,
flipping around and having Gwen die and
I
being that
do-
his thing, just killing Gwen again.
I do think that Miles' story is that his dad dies. I don't know if this movie is going to do that. 'Cause
They could do his mom too.
I
They
think the
could
lesson is
pull a reversal on that too.
I think the lesson's supposed to be like make your own future. Just like the
Yeah.
first one's lesson was
Yeah.
like anyone can wear the mask.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll probably be fine with it either way. Like he saves both his parents and he saves everybody. Cool. Because overall, this is a PG movie. And I gotta admit, like as I was watching this, I had 3 or 4 different families in there with me with different levels of kids. One who like could not sit still. Clearly was like, do you know how to watch movies? I don't think you do.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a baby. Like I said, one kid definitely was into it. And like, I mean, was really into it. Like he called he's Miles too before the Prowler took his
Yeah.
mask off.
Yeah.
And I was like, way to go, kid. And this is, I mean, it's a kid's movie, but I'm watching, I'm like, I know it's also only rated PG, but like, I don't know. I don't know if you bring a 5-year-old, do they glean what's going on? Do they get the lesson?
Right.
And also like, I don't know, this is kind of, it's a lot. Even if it's not intense, like this is a lot of stimuli visually. Like,
Mhm.
I'll admit too, walking out of the theater, I was like, man, normal life fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This is one of a few movies where you do feel like, oh, can I just go live in there instead? Like, I don't want to live out here. Out here is really fucking boring.
Well, maybe we can reconvene in the next 5 years and see the next one.
And I'll add to this and we'll wrap up. And I know you did say this too. Is like, even if you have problems with the story, if you don't like Spider-Man, and even if this art or this style is too bombastic for you,
Because it does get to a point at some parts of the movie where it's like,
I
this
think,
is
honestly,
epileptic like
if
hell.
you watch the opening logos of the movie studios, which also glitch out,
That was surprising.
they did in the first one too. If that bothers you, stop.
Yeah. You shouldn't watch it.
But
I know some people
and-
got motion sickness with it.
I did notice like there was not a 3D option of this movie.
There
Not
was
that you needed it, but it was like, fuck. I mean, if there was, I would have watched it in 3D.
I don't know if I would have.
But I do think that Puss in Boots: Last Wish was influenced by Spider-Verse. Not taking its
absolutely.
art style, but DreamWorks going, hey, we could animate something differently than what we do.
And tell a good story that has lots of action and also a good deep theme.
The Ninja Turtles, no matter what, that movie is clearly influenced by what,
Absolutely.
Spider-Verse
I
has
hope it's
done.
not too influenced by it. I hope it's its own
It does
thing.
look like it has its own distinct style, but it is very much too is like, oh, Spider-Verse influence, huh? But I think this is good too. Is like, I want all of animation studios like, look, I'm not saying do what they're doing. Some of you though, like, yeah, I'd like to see more of this, but also do something different.
Got a lot of stuff in New York City.
Oh, the Banksy line did make me laugh.
That was actually pretty funny.
And again, that's a joke. Was like, kid doesn't get that fucking joke. But again, like that's probably not a joke for kids. It's a joke for adults. But
Right. But yeah, New York City and Turtles in this and in the next movie we're going to talk about.
and what was it Moonbatten, the Mumbai Manhattan?
Yeah. And Moonbatten.
I like too that they didn't even like. I'm not going to explain why Mumbai and Manhattan have been combined. Just they have
I mean, Big Hero 6 did the same thing with it was like San Fran, Tokyo.
San Fran, Tokyo. Yeah. So yeah, still holds. This was I gotta say, movies are pretty good right now.
Animated ones at least.
I was just thinking overall. I mean, last couple ones that we've done,
We've liked a majority of them.
Guardians in this were very much this is why you go to the movies. That's how, when I walked out of this, that's what I felt like. This is why you go to the movies. This was for me,
Yeah.
it was a complete experience from story, the audio, the visual, to even the fun universe interconnecting stuff of like, do you remember this? Like, I do remember this.
But it wasn't like egregious where it's just like, you better fucking remember it. It's nostalgic.
But yeah, Guardians, this, Dungeons and Dragons, even Evil Dead Rise, just like, it's been a string of like, oh, granted, we've also not gone to every movie that came out because some of them are like, we didn't go see Fast X because I'm sure our review would be.
I did see a scene from that movie, and I think that you would genuinely love it.
From Fast X.
It's
you think I would love the scene?
yeah.
I thought you thought like, I think you'd love this movie.
No, it just
I would not.
one scene, and even someone like I think someone posted on Twitter. It was just like, please God, someone tell me how much of a percentage of the movie is like this because I will watch it. And they're like, this is the only scene like this. You know what? I'll tell you what it is. Jason Momoa is sitting there telling his big evil plan to two dead guys that are rotting, and he's like, their heads keep falling over, and he keeps propping them up and being like, "Listen to me, motherfucker."
I would like that.
Yeah, and they have like tape with their eyeballs open and stuff, and like a fly lands on one of them.
Maybe I'll just watch the Jason Momoa scenes.
It was very, very much like, honestly, very Evil Dead of it.
But yeah, I do feel like movies are good now. Coming up, we're gonna be doing Transformers. Do movies continue to be good? Are they more than meets the eye?
It could be. Either way, Spider-Verse is very solid. Like, I still liked it.
I'm glad we didn't talk about this. Literally, we did not talk about this off air. I had no indication. He did not give me any indication either. It was like, I didn't have problems with this. But I also didn't tell him. I was like, oh, I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, it's
we
kind
both
of rare.
just knew, like, you saw it? I saw it.
It's kind of rare that I've had the opposing feeling.
Yeah, I'm usually the negative one.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie's a piece of poop.
And I was in a good mood that day, too, so it wasn't just that.
Well, now I can't wait because I also don't know what his views on Transformers are.
Well, then let's go ahead and get out of here so we can go over there.
To be continued. Beyond Shallow Cinema.